early on. He was, trying to measure up Audley, and we were reasonably happy with how things were going. Of course, 2 rounds, he didn't throw a great deal of punches, but in those 2 rounds, it didn't look as though we were under any major problems, and he caught him with a great shot in the 3rd round. And, David proved he's a great fighter. Audley didn't do it. What can I say? It's life, it's sport, it's heavyweight boxing. You get hit by a clean shot. If Audley Harrison hits David Hay with a clean shot, maybe something else happens, but it wasn't meant to be. And being close to Audley, I feel, deeply disappointed for him. It's gutting for him, especially the way it happened, because we wanted him to give a good account of himself, and that was what he really wanted to do. But obviously getting caught cold with a shot like that in heavyweight boxing, he just didn't recover, and that's the end of the story.
What does it leave his career?
Well, he's going to go back. It's tough when you've got a dream, and and people will criticise him tomorrow in the papers and say this and that. But like I said all along, he's the guy with a dream to achieve something in life, and it hasn't happened. And that's disappointing. And he's going to have to go home and sleep at night and realise that he's failed, and that's really tough. And that's sometimes the hardest thing in life to be able to think that you could have done better and you were that close to achieving your dream. I mean, you think people who want to achieve a dream like being heavyweight champion, how many people actually get in the ring with the champion and have a chance to take it from him? And he didn't. And he didn't take his chance, and he didn't deliver. And he's going to have to live with that. It's going to be very tough. It's going to be a lot of painful nights. But he's going to go away, spend time with his family. He was the European champion. He relinquished that belt. But right now, it's impossible to say where he'll go from here. He's a devastated man right now, and it's going to take him a while to get over it.
Thanks very much, Eddie. Pass you back to Mike.
Thanks, Eddie. The response from the Audley Harrison camp. Eddie Hearn sounding as downbeat as you'd expect, saying he doesn't know where Audley Harrison goes from here, but wherever he goes, if it's back into a boxing ring, you could be absolutely certain he won't sell a single ticket. We're here at the MEN Arena. David Hay has knocked out Audley Harrison with a minute to go or so in the 3rd round. It's me, Mike Costello, at ringside still with Steve Bunt and Spencer Oliver. We're part of the Stephen Nolan show this evening. We're taking your calls 0500 909 693, your texts on 85058, and we're going next to Derek in Aberdeen. Good evening, Derek.
Good evening. That was an absolute abortion of a fight. There's no way that the British public should have had to pay for that. Out of the purse that Audley Harrison is getting, he should refund it. And there's people who travel, I live in Aberdeen, I know good friends of mine who have travelled down, staying in Manchester hotels for the weekend to attend that. Money wasted, isn't it?
But why did they travel down?
Well, they travelled down in the expectation of at least getting a 10-round fight. Not in the expectation that Audley would win, but they thought at least it could go at 10 rounds or so. But yeah. What has it got? Well, 7 minutes entertainment.
Well, Derek,
not even entertainment, was it?
Well, Derek, it certainly wasn't entertainment, but I don't think in heavyweight boxing you can predict whether a fight's going to go.
I agree. I follow boxing. I enjoy it. You could get the explosive punch in the first 20 seconds and it's gone. I've seen that happen. But the way that fight was developing,
exactly,
it was obvious that Harrison wasn't going to put anything back into it. He didn't make any form of aggression or show any form of aggression toward David Hayes. I think David Hayes has been extremely kind to him, even given him the fight. It's the nicest pension fund ever. 7 minutes for the £12 million plus. It's disgraceful.
What type of money, Steve, would he have got for that fight? Mike, what type of money would he have got?
Well, Audley and David, I think we're probably going to end up splitting tonight something like 6 to 9 million. Audley could have the upside of maybe 1.5 million, maybe as much as 2 million. It's all down to the pay-per-view, and we're here in the pay-per-view sales for this were absolutely sensational. They were absolutely sensational. And remember, let's establish this straight away. You didn't have to buy a pay-per-view sale. You didn't have to spend £15 extra on your Sky deal. You did it because you bought into what we'd seen over the last 2 months.
So, Steve Bell, the fans walk away disappointed, feeling robbed, and Audley Harrison walks away with a couple of million.
Yeah, he does. I mean, that's boxing for you, and that's what boxing does for you. You just don't know what you're going to get with fights like these. You get fights where they can be absolutely fantastic, on paper, and it's down to be a destined, brilliant fight. And it turned out like this. You get fights that you don't even look forward to, and they can be absolutely undingered. So you just don't, that's boxing for you. And that's what the sport's about.
We're just looking at the computer screen here. We've calls coming in from Guildford, from Manchester, from Sussex, from Northern Ireland, London, Nuneaton, 0500 909 693. We're coming straight back after the news. You want to be on air? Pick up the phone.
On digital and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Well, after all the hype and the trash talk, the fight itself was a bit of a letdown. That's an understatement. It just took 3 rounds for David Hay to knock out Audley Harrison and retain his WBA heavyweight crown.
Could have got him out earlier, but, you know, I knew I had 3 round limit I've set myself on, and I knew I'd get him out there in that 3rd round, no doubt. As soon as I started letting my punches go, the fight was effectively over.
Surely it's now curtains for Harrison.
He will be walking into retirement here. The man who so often talk, once again stumbled when it came to walking the walk.
Loads to be calling us tonight, but this you can keep them coming in from Mike Costello and the team who are still ringside at Manchester Evening News Arena. 0500 909 693. The text 85058. The featherweight boxer Steve Bell in the studio with me tonight. If you're emailing us, it's to nolan@bbc.co.uk. It's 11 o'clock news now with Corey Allen.
World leaders have welcomed the release of Aung San Suu Kyi. The Burmese pro-democracy leader has spent most of the last 2 decades under house arrest. The military regime says there's